Barry, you spent 6 weeks thinking about discipleship, small groups, Sunday school. What'd you learn?
Well, it was an incredible experience just for me personally. I'm so thankful for a church that was willing for me to take the 6 weeks and to really focus on this. But the beginning of it was I asked myself the question, can life groups really be effective at making disciples?
And if I interrupt you, when you say life groups,
Yeah.
I did a little research on project on this a few years ago, and the majority of people who do Sunday school don't call it Sunday school anymore, which is
Right.
fine for everybody except for, just so we know what we're talking about. When you talk about life groups, what are you talking about?
We have 4 kinds of life groups. I'm
Okay.
talking about a Sunday morning one that's pretty much like Sunday school,
Okay,
what we call
all right.
a life group.
All right.
And then we have a Wednesday night life group system
Okay.
that meets whenever school is in. And then we have home groups. We're kind of a hybrid. And we have a dozen home groups. And then we have other kinds of groups that meet at Starbucks or on Thursday morning or whatever. So all those we call life groups, kind of
Okay.
close it under one
Perfect.
system.
All right, keep going.
So the question was, can life groups be effective at making disciples? And the thing that spurred that question was,
I'm hoping the answer is yes.
The answer is yes, by the way. Yes, the answer is yes. But what spurred the question for me was, I see so many of our churches that are moving away from life groups.
Right.
And they're adding a smaller group, 3 to 5 men or 3 to 5 women, and it's called a D group or a grow group or something like that.
Right.
And so my question was, are we going to put our emphasis on D groups, or are we going to really do the best we can to make life groups,
Right.
for us, be the most effective disciple-making tool?
Now, is there any reason why those two groups couldn't work together in harmony? Like have D groups within life groups?
Yeah, no, there's no reason at all. In fact, that's what we're going to do. Now, we're not going to set a goal. For example, I talked to one friend who set a kind of a significant numerical goal for D groups, and it kind of didn't work past the first or second generation, and so they're feeling kind of defeated,
Right.
because they had this big goal to go into all these D groups. We're going to let it grow a little bit more organically,
I like
and
that.
so we're going to start D groups, and we also have a really significant women's ministry that is actually doing D groups under a different name, and we don't want to hurt that. We don't want to kill that. So we're going to do it within life groups or outside of life groups.
Right.
Anytime we'll equip people to do D groups. But the thing that I learned is that our life groups can be way more effective than they are. Now, we have effective life groups. I'd say half of our life groups are quite effective. But we've never really given them the mandate, hey, your job, the purpose of life groups is to make disciples. And so I think that is a clarity that is really needed. So
Right.
what's the purpose of life groups at HBC? No matter when they meet, the purpose is making disciples. And then Joe Flegel in our state convention asked me this question. Okay, well, if the purpose of life groups is to make disciples, what does a disciple look like?
There you go.
Well, a disciple is somebody that worships. A disciple is somebody that fellowships with other believers. A disciple is somebody that studies the Bible and prays. A disciple is somebody that lives out their faith by giving, by sharing their faith, by performing acts of caring, by caring for other people. So we found that fits hand in glove with our mission, which is leading people to connect with Jesus and with each other, leading people to grow in Jesus through Bible study and prayer,
Right.
leading people to live out their faith through witnessing, through acts of kindness. One of the problems that we've had with our mission is that everybody gets connecting with Jesus and with each other. They understand that. That's evangelism, it's worship. Everybody gets growing in Jesus. That's Bible study and prayer. But when we talked about living out our faith, too many of our people interpreted that as going on a mission trip.
Mm.
And we do that. We do the stew out of mission trips, but
Right.
that's not really what it's about. It's about living out your faith here, doing things that show you care for people,
Right.
giving, sharing your faith. That's how we live out our faith.
So you said earlier you're going to, in the sermon just now, you're going to put a big emphasis on getting people to serve in various ways. Tell us about that.
Yes. Now that's an emphasis for 2018. I think we're going to call it HBC Cares, but we're going to try to enlist people to just make a commitment that once a week they'll do some kind of act of kindness. Maybe random, maybe anonymous, or it may be known.
Right.
Maybe as simple as shoveling your neighbor's snow out of the driveway, or it may be
That wouldn't work in southern New Mexico, by the way.
It wouldn't work.
No,
Okay.
no snow to shovel.
It'll work here, buddy. I guarantee you. It'll work in the Central Oregon.
You know, it's an interesting thing that it hit me recently that, you know, in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus said, be careful not to do your acts of righteousness before men to be seen by them.
Yeah.
But he also said in the same sermon, let your light so shine before men,
Right.
that they may see your good works.
Yeah.
And so as I understand that, the tension there is the goal is not to draw attention to yourself. The goal is to draw attention to Jesus. But you should do it publicly. Let your light so shine before men.
Exactly.
It occurred to me in today's world, that's easier than ever been. I would encourage you, if they go out and do some active service. I had this idea, for example, I walk as a means of exercise, and I noticed there's a lot of trash out on the street. I commented this to my wife, and she's a school teacher, and she said, you know, sweetie, when
I have an idea.
I teach my second graders that when they see a piece of trash in the hall, that even if they didn't drop that piece of trash, they got to pick it up. And if you're out taking a walk and picking up some trash, so I've done that a lot. And it occurred to me, what if a life group were to meet together on a Saturday and say, we're going to meet at this shopping center or this neighborhood or our church or wherever, and we're just going to go out wherever we can, and we're going to pick up a bunch of trash, and then we're all going to take selfies. We're going to have a big pile.
Yeah.
And we're going to say, this is what we're trying to do to make our world a little bit more like heaven.
Absolutely.
And we're going to let our light shine before men. We're going to intentionally be very public about our good deeds, not to draw attention to me, but to draw attention to Jesus.
Absolutely. That's an excellent way to let our light shine. And we want to equip people with little cards, and the card on one side will just say HBC Cares. On the other side, we'll have our name of our church and service times and website.
Right.
And so we hope to really make that connection. But our church has a good reputation for being involved in the community. You may not know about this. One of the things we actually do is, this is not a big town. We have about 30,000 people. So on the 4th of July, there's a big parade downtown.
Right.
We go last in the parade, and we pick up the trash.
All right.
I mean,
There you go.
the street, the sidewalks,
You take selfies.
all the way down the thing. But we need to take more selfies. We need to take more selfies. But yeah, it's just a way of letting our light shine. And I think if we give our life groups this renewed focus, just a real fresh, clear emphasis, what's the purpose of your life group? Make disciples. Therefore, what's the purpose? What does a life group leader need to be trained to do?
Right.
Make disciples. Lead people to worship, to study the Bible, to pray, to live out their faith, and all those things fit hand in glove with our mission. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a new era for HBC.